much awaited part two. I mean, as absurd as even uploading anything to this channel is, saying things out loud does something for some reason. I don't know the exact specific psychological or neurological, I guess that would be terminology, but it's just interesting. Anyway, uh, you are not my prisoner. Yada 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 yada. The a case, I guess you could call this a case for stimming. Uh, my thesis paper or something like that. If I'm talking too much, you can throw your hands up, quit, stop talking. Or stop this. It's all good. And I guess that's another thing too, like fear of being rude and whatnot, because that also, when you miss social cues and whatnot, it's kind of easy to be, even when you don't mean it that way, you kind of just, it's easy to get labeled like that. For, and also, I should throw this on here too, for the, because I was in the other one, I was in a previous video, super important. I was speculating that the kids might be have some sort of neurological thing going on the neurodivergent in some way. And let me say this: it's not even like just to be caught up on the any label. It's just it's just when you ignore something, is that's what kind of gets me sometimes. It's not really about a word or term or something like that. It's just about feeling less alone and feeling more understood. And at least that's my take on it. Anyway, continuing on. Had to add this in. I would like to think being back to back with the kid, not literally like the Lethal Weapon poster, but facing away from each other would be a big help, because eye contact is hard and weird at times. Just being around people is odd, and we don't need any more barriers in this for these children. Especially considering in this hypothetical, I'm a stranger slash new person to the child, no matter what the hypothetical credentials are. I think acknowledgement would be very helpful. Just simply recognizing the child's pain instead of it being like a problem or something that needs to be quote unquote solved first and all that, like trying to fix them. I don't know if this helps, but I'll say I'm having a tough time talking right now to the child and da da da. I want you to know it's hard out here. That's from a video called Can You Give Me One More Day? Got that off of the TikTok back in that era. It's a noisy world out there. Sometimes there's too much going on and you get overwhelmed. That's what was interesting to me when I saw, I believe the girl's name was Maya. I don't know why they put her whole government name out there, but whatever. Uh, when Maya was covering her ears during the birthday party, I was like, I don't know. That was a little red. That was waving a little flag for me. I was like, hey, but I could just be seeing things. But I guess that it's just unfortunate, truly. That's the real sad thing, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, with any sort of late diagnosis thing. It's just like, it's just unfortunate, especially when you start to see all the going back. You start to see all the things. And anyway, I mean, I guess what can you can't do anything with regret. So you just gotta cope your way through. And it continuing on. You might get overwhelmed. There's too much going on and you get overwhelmed. You might feel like all eyes are on you. You're being judged because you can't be normal. or you feel like you stick out, you're an alien because you don't know what's going on. Like everyone knows this secret of life and how to interact with people. And now that I think about it, the feeling overwhelmed and not feeling normal and always feeling like weird in a situation could is like I know it's like they know it's anxiety, but it's like your body is just so overwhelmed and like nervous system to get into like the technical whatever nervous system is just going crazy, is going buck wild that you kind of like I don't know if I compare it to like how people talk about like a drug or something like that, but you just feel wired in like the worst way. Like you just got a shot of caffeine. These videos really expose how my brain works. That's sheesh. Anyway, continuing on. It's always a lot of continuing on. It's hard not to get into a tangent. Anyway, think I'm. I mean, my frontal lobes are doing the best that they can. That's all I could ever ask for. This secret of life and interacting with people, and they just seem to get things, and things come naturally to them. If conversations were a dance, they know all the steps while you trip over your feet. I don't proofread. And it's painful because you want to connect with people, but you can't. Things get lost in translation. It's like a disconnect between what you think and what you say. It's hard to be your true / real self in front of people. And then I guess there I might ask like the kid to write down is any of that connected with them? Do they agree with some of the statements, disagree, or however to word it for them, depending on their age or something like that? Like, would you say you feel like that? Like, write that down and then see what they write back to me. That's why I don't want to force you to talk. I don't know why I put. Anyway, I would like to start with. I would like to start small with just being around another person / new person. Maybe reinforcing that they can move around and do whatever they need to do to regulate themselves, to use that type of terminology, to calm themselves and, you know what I mean, do what they have to do to have less restrictions. Because overall, this isn't about replicating, simulating, or exposure to some sort of environment. It's just being. And it's closer to sensory deprivation instead of like trying to copy all of the sensations of being out socializing. It's more peeling it back, perhaps to give them a safe memory to go back to when they encounter unavoidable social interactions. Basically, a foundation. Headphones and other sensory tools would probably help too, but depending on the kid's age, like I was talking about with like the unfortunate thing about late diagnosis and whatnot, is that it may be difficult to implement. Speaking from experience, the tools help, but if you already feel judged for being different because you are, for various reasons outside of your control, and it's not a bad thing, but you are different because your brain is different. It's just kind of, you just happen to be in a society and world that makes that like a bad thing, or makes it hard to be you in the world. And I would say it would just make things worse because it would give you an actual thing to be different. Like instead of feeling that you are not feeling, but like the differences kind of being like mental and whatnot, it'll be like there will be something physical to go off on and like add it on top of everything else, on top of like missing social cues and whatnot, and feeling alien and everything else, by actually having something that is obviously different if you're like walking around with headphones and whatnot. So that kind of it was like it's like a, I guess, to use the phrase, a catch 22 or something. You kind of lose for winning type of thing. But earbuds might be more realistic, and I guess that's one thing about AirPods. They kind of normalized that for better or for worse. I think it's for better, to be honest, overall, because being in public is just wild sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if the brain was just not. Some brains just aren't made. I don't, whose brain really is. I don't know. It's just a lot going on when you have so much. Your brain could take in so much information and just doesn't filter it out. At least that's what I hear. Uh, Explaining is my coping mechanism. Continuing, I would ask the child and parent, if the child doesn't want to communicate through writing, what the child enjoys, with the hope of creating a positive association with social interaction and something the child likes slash is interested in. So I guess this would be, I was supposed to continue writing that down, but then I just started the video. I was like, oh, okay. It was kind of be like listening to a music, or if they have a favorite movie, and just kind of at that point, then it would be like, okay, we would be sitting next to each other or something like that, and just watching the thing, and just that's it. It's not talking about it. They don't gotta describe it. They don't gotta. It's just there, because that's like, it's just taking smaller steps and making it more uh digestible for them, instead of it being like this thing where like you have to talk, you have to say a full sentence or something. Like, no, just because to me at least, just being around a person, I think once you can be around a person, just like doing nothing, not doing nothing, but like just being around them, then the talking kind of, you could just feel comfortable, and then sort of it will be easier to talk. At least that's what I think. This is all just hypothetical and hearsay and all of that. So maybe part of it is just allowing the kid to like uh be able to show a little bit of their true self without communicating, so they could kind of feel comfortable in that. Because from what I've heard is sort of like a uh, with most of these type of things, where the social anxiety type of things and etc., is that somehow, some way, somewhere along the line, your uh inner voice or inner self, the real you, got like suppressed and shut down, just from what you've heard, what you've seen, or you saw someone else get made fun of, or you got made fun of, so you're like, I'm not gonna do that anymore, obviously, because that's like a survival thing. Unless it's like if you continue, then like, maybe you would overcome, but obviously you didn't. So you change yourself, and then you kind of just slowly uh, lose yourself, the real version of you, because it's you somehow, not somehow, but it wasn't acceptable in some way, which is unfortunate. The video did genuinely inspire me though. Like, if there was a way that I could actually do this, what I'm talking about right now, and actually help a kid, that would make all of the very, uh, I guess at the time, unwanted and quote unquote bad experiences and whatnot, kind of worth it to just help somebody else, to give them the leg up, and then they could do their thing. Then it would all be for something. Like, that would be nice. I'll look into it. We'll see. We'll see.